Well, hi, this is Steve Baumgartner with Baumgartner Ranch. I'm going to give you a little update on how I got started. So stay tuned. Be right back. All right, hey, this is Steve Baumgartner with Baumgartner Ranch again. Was asked some questions on how I got started into the wine. Well, the picture behind me, you're going to see me right there. And these are my uncle and my cousins. They all live in Napa, California. I moved there in 1978 when I graduated from 10th grade. I moved to live with my uncle, went to Vintage High School. Vintage Crushers, grape crushers. So before that, I didn't know anything about wine at all. So during the 2 school years that I had at Vintage, they had this guy who was crushing grapes. That was their mascot or logo, whatever you want to call it. And I figured out, what was that thing he's doing with that bucket? And so during that time, we went around to wineries along the Napa Valley. And I said, oh, this is what wine's all about. Okay, I saw all the Christian Brothers, architecture, and all the old vineyards, and going up Calistoga, and up to Lake County, all for that whole area, and we have wineries. So this is before you had the wine train and all this kind of stuff, back in the late 70s. So during that time, we would go to estate sales, and everything was wine related. So I guess that wine stuff had been there for a long time, and a lot of it was beer related. I think one of the biggest things I found often was something about burger beer. So I'm assuming that burger beer was actually something in that area at the time. I'll have to do some research on that. So 2 years go by. I never really had any wine. I was underage, of course. We started off with the beer. After 2 years, living with my uncle on his ranch. Beautiful, beautiful place. It's immaculate. I mean, it's like living on a resort, except the fact that I was the slave on the resort. And so I got to enjoy it, but I really had to work my tail off too. I was mowing lawns, cutting wood, fixing pipes for the cows and steer. God, you name it, I was doing it. It was everything. It was a one-man show. Uncle would say, hey, this is what needs to be done, and you go do it. So that was really fun at first, but not so much fun afterward. So we won't get into that, but did learn a lot living there for those 2 years at his house. So when I graduated, obviously I'm 18 now, so house wines, people would serve some house wine sometimes. So kind of got a little bit of taste of what wine really was. I didn't really like it all too much. I was into sports a lot. I was into girlfriend part. That's where the wine came in. The girls liked the wine, even though they were young. They probably started well younger than I did, being from Napa. So I got the introduction. I really enjoyed the wineries, how they grew. I loved the vineyards. It was beautiful. I just loved it. I mean, I just go walk through. This is what you see is the backyard, which is all vineyards now. But the front yard, across the street from Ranch Road, was all vineyards. And get off school, practice from football, and sometimes I had enough energy, I just kind of walked through the vineyards. And the peace of mind, you get birds going through and a nice breeze coming through, and just super quiet. Loved it. So, I finished up high school, started a year at the local college, got my leg hurt in football, so football career's gone. So I headed back down to Southern California, and then that's where the wine experience kicked in. Now, older girls going through college, a lot of wine, samosas, a lot of parties at work with champagne. It's like, oh, okay, so I got a clue. I know where this all comes from now, and I know how it's made. and so I really got kind of kicked into it a little bit more. I didn't really drink a lot of it. I just had some socially, but I learned a little bit more. And I went through college, finished up my degrees, and got into the workforce. So I traveled around the United States and still had the same thing. Met people, had wine. There wasn't ever really a beer guy. It was more like a milk and wine occasionally. I didn't really like beer all that much. So years and years and years go by, and now my career's kind of settling where I have more time for myself. So now I meet some older gals, and we have some more mature parties, and wine's the big part of it. So you got the wine, the cheese, the meats, and stuff like that. So now I'm starting to look into pairing. Like, okay, well, I heard that you should have this type of foods with these types of wines. I'm starting to read up more, and really that background I had while going to high school and all the wineries, because I would go through the tours and I'd listen to everything they said. So I had this sort of foundation of base information. So that's pretty much kicked it off. And then now, before I retired, my dad came out. He retired, so we tried to find a skill, a hobby that he could enjoy and it wouldn't be too hard. So I think I mentioned in one of my other videos, I started, got all the home wine making equipment, got Dad going on that, and I really enjoyed it. He kind of backed out, said it was too much work, but I've kept it going since 2007, and I've made a lot. I've made, I don't know, I can't even imagine, but pretty much the maximum every year, which I think is like 250 bottles, which is more than enough. Maybe more than I can't remember. It's been such a long time since I did the maximum. But reading up, I have the book. It's called General Viticulture. I kind of do a lot of reference on there. I've been watching a lot of videos lately, but in the past it was more just watching things on TV and reading books. Reading books was the main part of it. I read a lot of Greek mythology around all the wine stuff. So I got a lot of different perspectives on background, and it really gained my interest. So once we started making wine, I really got interested. There's a class in northern Texas that I was going to take in Grayson County. They teach viticulture. It was just too far of a drive. It was like a 2-hour to get there and 2 hour to come back. That just wasn't going to happen because I had to work. So I had to do all the studying myself. So I bought the curriculum and read the books myself, started making my own wine. I volunteered at a local distributor for wine and beer, and they actually made wine there, and so we had our little wine clubs, and just learned a lot. And he did a lot of videos too. Winemaker's Toy Store was the name of it. Now he passed away, so the toy store is gone, but he really had a good program going on. He had very big on education, teaching the people. I figured if you learned more, you would buy more, which actually did work. And we had a lot of wine parties at his location, which is actually, I think, illegal. It really brought in the people. So, but anyway, that's a sidetrack. So I retired, and I retired because of the cancer. So with cancer, I didn't have a lot of energy, so I started making maybe 3 maximum kits a year. And that was more than enough. Plus the cycling had stopped, so all those drinkers are gone. So it's pretty much me and my wife and a few of our friends and acquaintances that had beer. And I give the stuff away for Christmas and other things. If I have a service guy come over and he did a good job, I'll give him a bottle of wine. So that kind of stuff. So I pretty much stopped mass producing wines. But I started reading more and learning more. And a lot of the stuff was, I can't say second nature, but it was pretty close to it since I've done it so many years, since 2007. So I continue to do it. I don't make as much as I used to. I would like to, but I have one rule. Only drink alcohol when you're happy. So if you're having problems in your life, for me. I'd stay away from alcohol of any sort whatsoever, because it's a depressant in a sense. It relaxes you. So if you're already not feeling good, it'll just amplify that feeling. So the only feeling I want amplified is happiness. So I have to feel good inside of me before I drink. And ever since cancer, it's been kind of hard to be happy. Occasionally I have some good days, and I'll go and we'll do some wine. And I just have to be careful I don't have too much, because then it can move on to the dwell of not so good. That's just another sidebar thing. I'll get to maybe never. So currently, I make about 3 a year. The house is kind of a mess because I'm moving things around, painting, doing stuff. So I have to fix the lab up again, and I'll get some pictures of the lab later once I get it all cleaned up. But now, you know, to clean up one room, you got to move stuff from that room to this room. The only room that was available was the wine lab, so that's just full of tables and extra stuff. So it's going to take me a while to clean that up, but it will be coming. So there's a story on how I got into wine, how I'm kind of continuing with it, and why do I do these videos? Because it's fun. Am I going to make any money off of this? No. But it's fun. And in my life, I'm looking for fun. And I want to share stuff that I know. I don't have any kids. So you're the only people I can give anything to. So there's my knowledge. There's my enthusiasm. It's heading your way. Thanks a lot. And I think the next one I'm going to try to clean up that wine lab and get something going there. Make another kit. You can kind of see the process there. Those who haven't done it, it's pretty simple. You just got to follow directions, which seems to be a challenge for some. Some people are directionally challenged and they screw it up. So I haven't screwed one up yet. I got to brag on that. I can follow directions. I learned one thing in the police department. Read all directions first, then do the directions. Don't do them one by one. Read all the directions so you understand where you're headed and where you're going, where you've been, and then start. Do it again. So there you go. Thanks for joining me again. I enjoy doing these things. So what would be better joy for me is if you would leave comments. Tell me what you want to see, hear. And I always try to focus on that stuff. And I love reading the comments. It's fun for me. So it's all about fun. So let's have some fun and talk. Talk to you later. Hang in there. I'll do the same.